Do you think any point in being brave in this?
No, I think it's better for everyone to stay home, avoid contact, and I think the longer we stay indoors, the faster this ends.
जी, तो जो डायलॉग था, जो डर गया समझो मर गया, वो यहाँ पर अप्लाई नहीं करता है. जो डर गया समझो बच गया, और उसने बहुत सारे लोगों को बचाया भी.
లాక్డౌన్ సమయంలో అందుబాటులో ఉండే అత్యవసర సేవలు, నిత్యావసర వస్తువులను అందించే రేషన్ దుకాణాలు, ఆహార పదార్థాలైన పళ్ళు, కూరగాయలు విక్రయించే దుకాణాలు తెరిచి ఉంటాయి. అలాగే పాలు, పాల ఉత్పత్తులను అందించే డైరీలు, మాంసం, చేపలు, పశుగ్రాసం విక్రయించే కేంద్రాలు అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. బ్యాంకులు, బీమా కార్యాలయాలు, ఏటీఎం సెంటర్లు అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. నిత్యావసర వస్తువులతో పాటు ఆహార పదార్థాలు, మందులు, వైద్య పరికరాలు ఈ-కామర్స్ ద్వారా సరఫరా చేసే సదుపాయం కల్పించారు. పెట్రోల్ బంకులు, ఎల్పీజీ, పెట్రోలియం, గ్యాస్ ఏజెన్సీ అవుట్లెట్లు అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. ఆసుపత్రులు, ఔషధ దుకాణాలు, వైద్య పరికరాలు అందించే దుకాణాలు, ల్యాబ్లు, క్లినిక్లు, నర్సింగ్ హోంలు, అంబులెన్స్లు అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. అలాగే టెలికమ్యూనికేషన్స్, ఇంటర్నెట్ సేవలు, ప్రసార మాధ్యమాలు, కేబుల్ సర్వీసులు అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి.
Community are responsible for ensuring that those who have tested positive receive all our love and care and don't feel any stigma. Take all the necessary precautions, but don't make them feel unwanted. We must practice social distancing, but we shouldn't isolate them from our society. We can win this war against coronavirus only by supporting each other and knowing the right thing to do.
Of India has launched an app called Arogya Setu to bring us all together to fight the COVID-19 virus. Once in
Good evening, my dear students. Welcome to the online session with subject English. Today we are going to deal with the comprehension passages of paper 2 and creative expression of paper 1. First, let us go with comprehension passages in paper 2. The comprehension passages carry questions 1 to 15 with 15 marks. Now, this is divided into 3 parts. The first one is a data, reading a data, and the second and third are unseen passages. Question number 1 to 5 comprises the reading data in a tabular form, a pie chart, a bar graph, a tree diagram or a poster. So, each one carries 1 mark. There will be 2 factual questions and 2 multiple choice questions and 1 choice of the correct statement among the given 3 statements. So, that is about comprehension passages, the first question. Now, in the first question, we have this year we are introducing a poster. So, I would like to bring a poster for you in front of you. So, before getting into the poster, I want all of you to make the data completely imbibed into you, like read the data. First of all, read and what are the important components given in the data in the poster has to be observed. So, here this is Manya Art and Craft Association, who cordially invites for the Hastakala program, Hastakala Handicraft and Handloom Exhibition. It's exclusively for 11 days with over 100 stalls showcasing art and culture from different parts of India. The venue is for the exhibition is Karnataka Chitrakala Parishad, which is in Bangalore. Now, the date when it commences, it is 14th and ends up at 24th of November 2013. So, this was purely conducted by Manya Art and Craft Association. And here you have a bubble where you can see the direct sales and live demo from artisans. That means the people who came to exhibit their hastakala or their handlooms and handicrafts, they are going to sell the product. Okay, let us see some questions. Before looking into the questions, all of you, you should remember that you should read a poster or a data or the given pie chart or anything first in order to answer the questions carefully. Okay. Now, let us see the comprehension questions. What does the poster show? What does the poster show? The poster has, it shows about the Hastakala Art and Craft exhibition conducted in Karnataka. So, here you can't simply write the heading or a title, you have to understand the question first. Then second one is, who is conducting the exhibition? Now, for this you can look at the first title given there, it is Manya Art and Craft Association. Question number 3 is, who sells the products in the exhibition? A. Artisans. Now, this is MCQ. A. Artisans, B. Manya showroom, C. People of Karnataka. Students, you may get confused with A and B sometimes if you overlook. Here, artisans are the one who exhibit their products as well as sell them. They have a direct sales, and Manya showroom is just conducting the program. So, the answer is A. The fourth question, how many days is the sale conducted? The sale is conducted from 14th to 24th. It is very clearly given in the poster that it is an 11-day program. So, the answer is B, 11. Pick out the right statement from those given below. Here you are given 3 statements, out of which one is the right one. A. The sale is to exhibit the art and culture of different states in India. B. There is a sale of toys, handlooms, decorative items and books. C. The sale is conducted throughout the month of November. Now, C, you can straight away say no, because it is from 14th to 24th of November. Now, A, the sale is to exhibit art and culture of different states in India. Here they are showcasing all the art and culture, the handlooms and handicrafts of different states. Then B, they said there is a sale of toys, handlooms, decorative items and books. Now, you can take the handlooms, toys and decorative items as some of the handicrafts, but books, it is a no. So, A is the right answer. Next, coming to the unseen passages, type 1. Here, in unseen passages, it can be a story, a description, an essay or an article also. Now, there will be 5 questions. Questions 6 to 10 are based on unseen passage type 1. And you should read the passage before going to answer the questions. So, here you have 2 WH questions, 2 MCQs and choosing the right statement. So, here let us see, I have given you one example of the passage. I took only a small slot of the passage in order to answer 6 and 7 questions. Let me read out the passage for you. One day, During winter, as the sparrows were enjoying the comforts of their nest, it started raining outside. Some time later, a monkey came to take shelter under the same tree. The monkey was all drenched in the rain and his teeth were chattering in the cold. So, this is a small paragraph, the beginning of a passage. Now, what are the possible questions? Sixth question. Why were the sparrows comfortable? So, it is very easy. The sparrows were comfortable because they were in the nest. They were safe in the nest. They could escape the rain. Number 7. What was the condition of the monkey under the tree? So, on the contrast, here the monkey is completely drenched in the rainwater and it is chattering its teeth because of cold. So, it is shivering out of cold. Now, 8 and 9 MCQs. The multiple choice questions 8 and 9 and also 10 are multiple choice questions. For 8 and 9, I have posed a different passage for you. The waste of plastic bags, bottles, etc. are drowned to a sea or ocean by rivers. They pollute and disturb the ecosystem of the ocean or sea. Only solution to this plastic hazard is to take preventive measures. For that, we should reduce the usage of plastic wherever possible, use recyclable bags and things and recycle the used plastic. Now, in paragraph 1 and 2 of this passage, you can see how the waste of plastic bags and bottles have contaminated the seas and oceans, and in the second paragraph they have given how to come out, what are the preventive measures to come out of this plastic hazard. Now, what are the possible questions? Let us see some. Now, question number 8. What disturbs the ecosystem of oceans? Rivers, plastic waste and sand. In the passage, if you go back, you can understand that rivers have brought all the deposits to the seas and oceans, but it is not the rivers which contaminated the seas and oceans, it is the plastic waste which came along with the rivers. So, you may get confused with A and B, but the answer is B. Question number 9. How do the preventive measures affect the plastic hazard? The answers again: A, they help to enrich the environment; B, they keep away the sea animals; C, they increase the use of plastic. So, we take some preventive measures, and these preventive measures, how they are going to affect the danger of plastic. So, here the right answer is A, they help to enrich the environment. If you take preventive measures, what will happen? The ecosystem, the environment will be safeguarded. So, A is the right answer. Coming to question number 15, which is a choice of right statement, it has to be answered by reading a complete passage. So, here we cannot give you the entire passage because it comprises of some 2 or 3 paragraphs around 150 to 200 words. And so, for this I can give you some tips. While answering this 15th question, read every statement and go back to the passage and see whether each and every statement lies in the passage or whichever is right or a wrong statement. So, that is how you can answer this question. And coming to unseen passage type 2, we have 11 to 15 questions for a story or a piece of event or an incident. And these 11 to 15 questions are statements which are given in a jumbled order, and this jumbled order should be placed in the right order, and only the numbers are to be written in the given space. For this, I can suggest a tip for you, that is, go through the complete passage, then read the statements from 11 to 15 and underline them in your passage with a pencil so that you can know the chronological order of the sentences and you can number them easily. Right, students? Okay. Next one. Now, let us come back to paper 1, creative writing, which is section C in your examination. So, this has 3 questions, question number 33, 34 and 35. 33 and 34, they are creative writing, and 35 is framing WH questions for a passage which is taken from the textbook of C reading, only from C reading. So, now let us deal with question number 33 of creative writing. This carries 5 marks and it has questions on conversation and description. There is an internal choice and you can answer any one of them and you get 5 marks. Now, before answering a conversation, let us discuss the evaluation indicators for this conversation. Now, when a conversation takes place between 2 persons, the dialogues should be apt to the context. They should be contextually framed and proper sequence of exchanges. The exchanges means the dialogue should be in a proper sequence. Now, here they should not miss the complete order. So, they have to be organized in a proper way. It might be question form, like one asking the question and the other answering them, or it might be the opinion of 2 different persons, but they should be in a proper order. Then using discourse markers and cohesive devices. Here, using discourse markers and cohesive devices, I can say these cohesive devices are nothing but the linkers which you use, like nevertheless, although, but, then, formally. So, these you have to place them wherever necessary, not that you should put it for every exchange, but wherever necessary, if you place them, there will be a connectivity and you can have that coherence in the discussion. Sustaining the conversation. While the 2 persons are conversing, you should hold on to it and you should maintain the conversation from beginning till the end of the conversation. Like first you start with greetings, then there should be about the topic or the problem which is to be faced according to the given context, and then there should be some kind of solution for it, and at last there should be some closing remarks. So, that order has to be maintained and held properly. So, here you can look at a picture, and this is, you must have understood that it is Narayan Murthy. So, he is the icon of Indian information technology. He has founded the information IIT, Infosys, and he has started the information technology wave. So, I want to pose a question to you based on this lesson, C reading. I will do it. Here is a question for you on the screen. Narayan Murthy became a pioneer of Indian software industry and started information technology wave. After his inception, the local reporter of Bangalore meets Mr. Murthy to make an interview looking forward to briefing his successful story. Write a possible conversation between Murthy and the reporter. Here, Narayan Murthy, it is, you all know how his life was since his childhood. So, what were the changes, or there were some odds and events in his life, so in spite of that, he has become a pioneer of Indian software industry. So, here if you look at this picture, you can see an interview between Narayan Murthy and the reporter, and these can be the points which you can cover for your answer. These are some suggestible points. You can add more to this also. Now, first of all, when you start the conversation, it should be first greetings and congratulating Mr. Murthy, the reporter, congratulations Mr. Murthy. Then Murthy's childhood dream and his scholarly approach, his geniality towards his friends, and how he used to show his intellectuality by explaining to his senior group. All this can be added. The reporter can ask some questions about his childhood and he can give answers. Then his father's inability to send him to IIT. So, their poor financial condition that able to send him for IIT Chennai. Then how he grew up. At this juncture, there was a challenge taken up by Narayan Murthy. So, how he grew up to be a self-made man, how he made a team of people, how he ethically and morally confronted all kinds of circumstances and became the pioneer. Then his perseverance, his hard work and intellectuality. It is driven by the moral values, and also with his intellectuality, philanthropism, he was able to achieve his goal. So, these points you can cover while writing this conversation. Have you understood, students? Now, let us go to the next conversation with Abdul Kalam. So, Abdul Kalam, this is Unit 6, My Childhood, A Reading. Here you have a question based on this lesson. You have read the lesson My Childhood of Unit 6. The Second World War broke out when Kalam was 8 years old. The train halt at Rameshwaram station had been suspended, so the newspapers had to be thrown out from the train, and Kalam's cousin Samsuddin was responsible to receive the newspapers, and for this he seeks the help of Kalam. So, do you remember this incident when Kalam was 8 years old? So, here at this juncture, write a possible conversation between Samsuddin and Kalam. So, for this also you can frame certain exchanges between Kalam and Samsuddin. So, this is taken from My Childhood, and here there was a problem with the distribution of newspapers, and Samsuddin was responsible to distribute the newspapers. Because there was no train halt at Rameshwaram during Second World War, they had to divide the work, and for this Samsuddin seek the help of Kalam. You can see young Kalam here. See how many awards and how many medals he has received. He has shown his brilliance since his childhood, right? Now, let us see some possible points you can cover while writing the exchanges and conversation. First of all, it can be formal greetings. Then, Samsuddin seeking Kalam's help. Samsuddin comes to Kalam and asks his help. After the greetings, he expresses his seeking for help, he expresses his wish. Then Kalam asks for reason why he wanted the help. That was Kalam's question to his cousin Samsuddin. Then Samsuddin explains the reason. Then while explaining, you can take these points from the given paragraph. It is easy for you. You can take the points which are given about World War II, the suspension of train halt, all these points you can cover. Then Kalam's wish to earn money for his family. So, how Kalam wished to earn some money, he also expresses his wish that he used to collect some tamarind seeds. Do you remember? So, he used to collect some tamarind seeds and earn some money for the family, which made him feel a sense of pride. So, here he wishes to earn money for his family, and that is what he expresses to his cousin. Then Samsuddin's assurance. So, Samsuddin also promises to pay him some wage. Then Kalam's approval. Kalam agrees for it. He agrees for Samsuddin's assurance and he reciprocates in a positive manner. And then Samsuddin thanks him. So, this can be the conversation, an exchange between Kalam and Samsuddin. Okay. Let us go to the description. Now, you have an internal choice between conversation and description. If you go to description, you have some evaluation indicators even for description also. So, you can write either of them, either a conversation or a description, and the evaluation indicators are, for a description, are creating vivid images. You should create some clear pictures in your mind. Then proper sequence of ideas and put all those ideas which you get in your mind, all those images in a proper order. Then giving personal reflections on event or person. So then you should come out with your feelings about that particular, if it is a person, describing a person, then you should explain about the person, or you should give a description about him, and then or about that particular incident. Then appropriate cohesive devices. Here also you should maintain the coherence of the passage, the paragraph which you present there, the description which you present there. Now here I would like to pose some questions. You can see the a salute to Satyajit Ray. You can see Satyajit Ray on the screen. So the lesson is Rendezvous with Ray, A reading of Unit 4. And the question taken from this lesson is, when Roberts went to Ray's house, he found Ray searching for his Charulata manuscript which was missing. When Roberts disputed to let out the culprit's name, Ray showed his humane concern. So did you recollect this a particular incident, students? So Roberts, it was an agreement between Roberts and Ray to meet every Sunday at 9 o'clock. So as usual, when Roberts goes to Ray's house, he finds Ray searching for his Charulata script, and when he asked, he understood, he learnt from Ray that before his arrival there were some important persons who came from the city to talk to have a chat with Ray. And here, throwing light on the above incident, describe Ray's character, providing necessary evidences from the textbook. So let us take this incident and also describe everything about Ray's character. You can take other evidences, other instances also from the textbook in order to explain about Ray. So for this, we already discussed some indicators that you have to maintain a cohesion between the sentences, and then you should create some images, then you should put them in chronological order and then present it in a proper manner, and also show some reflections. Now here on the screen you can find a small framework from the film Charulata. So let us go to the necessary elements which we have to cover in order to make a description. So here you can come from the beginning of the lesson in order to describe Ray, and the first point you can discuss is how detractors made comments on Ray's films. Since Ray has made Apu's trilogy and it was broadcasted in even Western countries, how the detractors criticized him that he was selling the India's poverty to the Western countries, and then the outsiders' opinion on Ray. How the outsiders felt about Ray, that he was cold, aloof and also intimidating. These words are there in the textbook which you can use in your paragraph. Then Roberts' opinion and their enduring friendship. Now Roberts and Ray had a perpetual friendship. It was everlasting. So what was Roberts' opinion about their friendship? How he tried to maintain till Ray's death, and Ray's reaction when Charulata screenplay was missing. So this was a particular incident on which we have to speak, and we have to write about Ray's concern, how he was showing his humanity when the script was lost. He did not want to spoil the reputation of the other person. So that you can bring out, you can highlight. Then you can also mention about his agnosticism and self-expression in his later movies. While he grew older, he was like he became agnostic and he was searching for an answer through his films. So that also you can make a mention in order to bring out Ray's character. And your reflection, for all this you should reflect clearly, specifically on the paragraph on your, and make a successful answer. Now here you can see the pictures. A picture, you can guess that it is a play by Stanley Hutton, The Dear Departed. In The Dear Departed, you can find two sisters sitting here at the tea table, and you can guess that they are Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan, and there is another person, you can take him as Mr. Jordan also. And here you can find Abel Merriweather and the two sisters. They were disputing over some, they were arguing about something, and you can see a kind of shock in the face of Abel Merriweather. So, based on this, let us see a question. You should have read about the selfishness of Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan in the lesson The Dear Departed. Abel was distressed to learn that they started dividing his things thinking he was dead. So, here Abel Merriweather was shocked. He was so disappointed to understand the selfishness of his two daughters. So, at this juncture, there is a question. Describe the inner thoughts of Abel Merriweather, focusing on his daughter's behavior and his decision to teach them a lesson. So, here Abel Merriweather makes a decision, powerful decision, that he should change his will. So, for this, what are the points we can cover? If you remember the context, here Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan, they were so selfish and complacent that they want to divide the property, and at this context, how Abel Merriweather reacted. It can be the thoughts of Abel Merriweather. You are the third party, you are the third person writing the feelings of Abel Merriweather. So, here you can write how Abel was exposing his daughter's selfishness and demeanor, their attitude, their negative attitude towards their father, that they want only his property and not his well-being. Then Abel's compulsive position to rely on his daughters. So, because since Abel lost his wife, he had to stay with either of his daughters, and this created a mess. They wanted to share his property, but not their father's welfare. They did not want to safeguard, or they did not want to look after their father. So, there is a strain in the relationships between father and the daughters. Abel's decision to change his will. At this point, Abel decided to change his will, and he wanted to give all his property to the person who will stay with him for a long time, like till his last breath. And your reflection on this topic, your reflection can be in any way, students. You can make it a positive or a negative also, like you can support Abel Merriweather for changing his will, or you can take the stand of his daughters who wanted his property, and it was quite natural that children look forward for parents' property, and that is what is happening nowadays. You can take your stand in that way also, or you can be neutral, stating that Abel can be humane towards his daughters, he can forgive his daughters, and he can give the property, and he can try to change their behavior. So, here whatever you present, you should be able to maintain the coherence in the paragraph. Now, coming to question number 34. Now, question number 34 is based on diary entry or script for speech. In diary entry, again here there are 5 marks, and there is an internal choice, and these questions are also based on textual context of ABC readings. So, here when you take a diary entry, again here you express the inner thoughts of a person, but it is your own reflection. You should imagine yourself in the place of that person and write a diary entry. So, always when you start a diary entry, you start with the date, day and time, and then sometimes some of them they are addressing dear diary, but though you address it as dear diary or not, you can open it with a particular mood. Okay? Then let us see some indicators, evaluation indicators for diary entry. Now, in diary entry, you should use the expressions of personal reflections. So, you should imagine yourself in the place of that person, and then you should give your expression and use language appropriate to the mood. If you are extremely happy, then the way you express your feelings will be different when you are sorrowful. So, there might be feeling of there might be an expression of happiness, joy, or sorrow, or some kind of excitement. So, all this depending upon the mood of the presenter, you have to maintain the diary entry. Then self criticism and future points. You should be able to criticize yourself wherever you go wrong with your shortcomings or with your negativity, or even though you are positive, how you faced some kind of vindication from the others, and then some points, some decisions you can make for the future, and your future points can be your resolutions also. Then coherence. Here in coherence, it is unity of the sentences. You should have unity between one sentence and the other sentence. So, for that, as usual, you can use some cohesive devices, you can use emotive language also. Then conventions of writing. In conventions of writing, it is actually the spellings or the punctuations or the capital letters and all. So, these should also be maintained properly in order to score full marks, all the 5 marks. Now, I am going to pose you a question for this, and before that you can see on the screen Wangari Maathai. And Wangari Maathai, she is along with some other women, you can take them, the women, African women who came, who seek the help of Wangari Maathai for the basic needs, and how Wangari Maathai was having a happy time. So, that means there should be some happy mood here. Let us see the question related to this picture. Wangari Maathai was very happy to see the women getting successful to become self-reliant. When the women came to ask for their basic needs, Wangari Maathai did not understand what really happened with the environment, and then slowly she learned that the environment was degrading. She was the one who led the Green Belt movement, and here when the women came and asked for the basic needs, then she could make them competent and empowered. She taught them, she also gave a title to all the women of Africa who became self-reliant as foresters without diplomas. When Wangari Maathai could make the African women competent and empowered, at this place you can imagine yourself as Wangari Maathai and make a diary entry about the transformation in the illiterate women. So, this was a very profound transformation, students. So, here what are the points you can cover while writing this diary entry? So, these are the suggestible ideas. Now, how Maathai's acquaintance with the women happened, how she could meet them and what they expressed, and then how she learnt about the degradation in the environment, how the rainfall patterns changed because of the degradation, and at this point how she felt that there is a need to rise to the situation. She has to rise to the situation, she has to safeguard the women, she thought that her help is very essential in that point, at that point of time. And women's ceaseless efforts, they all were very obliged to Wangari Maathai's suggestions, and they started growing crops, they started growing plants as they grew crops, because they did not get the help of the local foresters. And because of their efforts, because of their sincere efforts, they could become self-reliant, how they grew to be self-reliant. So, all these ideas will help you to make a successful diary entry. Now, here the diary entry should be made imagining yourself as Wangari Maathai. So, what could be the mood of Wangari Maathai at this place? She must be feeling very happy and extremely proud to see her women folk become self-reliant and have a sense of pride. in them. So, all these points, while covering all these points, you should be able to express the mood of that person. You should imagine yourself as Maathai and express the mood of Maathai. So, this is how you have to complete, and at last at the end of the diary you can make a signature Wangari Maathai. So, this is the diary entry for you students, and let us go to the next one. The next one is evaluation indicators for a speech. Now, for a speech we can choose some of the lessons like unity in diversity, then women empowerment, then every success story is also a story of failures. Then we can take attitude is altitude, taking Nick as the example and in personality development. There are certain lessons where you can make a speech. So, the evaluation indicators for the speech is the contextual relevance. So, you should be sticking on to the topic. So, an organization of ideas. Whatever idea you make, you frame in your mind, you should organize them in a proper sequence. Then use of argumentative, persuasive or interactive language. So, here it can be an argument, that means you may have a critical analysis of it, and then you may use some persuasive language, means you are trying to convince the audience with your point of view, you want to bring them to your point of view, and sometimes you can use some emotive language also, just like interaction, putting some questions to them or provoking a thought in them. Then use of discourse markers and appropriate coercive devices. Here also you can use the discourse markers are inevitable in a speech. So, in order to maintain the order and also the coherence of the speech, you should use the discourse markers and the coercive devices wherever necessary. You can frame it in 3 paragraphs. First you can start with an introduction, and before the introduction it can be addressing the people, and at last also you should not forget to conclude the speech. So, this while you are writing the script, you have to keep all these things in mind, students. And conventions of writing, as usual, they are all the mechanics of English, like punctuation, spellings, and then your capitalization, all this. So, let us see what are the possible ideas for the question given here. Let me read out the question for you. Based on the lesson, every success story is also a story of failures. Write a script for speech with the exemplars given in the textbook in B reading. Now, if you take B reading, there are so many exemplars, so many people whom you can take as an example, starting from Abraham Lincoln, then Colonel Sanders, then Walt Disney, then Lee D. Forrest and others like Thomas Alva Edison, and you can take all these people as example and write a script for speech with exemplars. So, what are the possible points you should cover under this speech, script for speech? I will give you some ideas for this particular thing. We are taking the B reading in from first unit. Addressing the audience. So, this is compulsory, students. You should address the audience first, and then you should introduce the topic. And after the introduction, you can take the examples given in B reading and what is your thought or idea on that person, or what you learnt from these examples. And you can add your personal experience. See, all these examples which you take from B reading are the challenges or the failures faced by the by different people who became successful later. So, what you learn from them, and also what are your personal experiences, if you have any such personal challenges which you faced and what you learnt from your personal challenges also can be expressed in the script. Then the lesson you learn from the relevant topic. What you learnt, what could you get out of the speech, or what could you get out of that particular topic. Failures are the stepping stones of success. This also can be one topic, and what you, for that, what are the instances you take. So, and then what examples you are going to give, and what you try to deduct from that. So, all these things you should take into consideration. Then at last there should be a conclusion and or an advice to the audience, and that will be the closing remarks for any speech. So, while writing a speech, you should keep all these things in mind, and this is a there is, I told you, there is an internal choice between diary entry and script for speech. So, attempting diary entry is much more easier than a speech, but if you are really interested, you can make it possible to attempt a speech also. Okay? Then coming to an assignment given to you. Today I am going to give you an assignment. I will read out the question and you can take down the question also. Look at the screen and take down the question as I read it for you. Savitri was removed from the main role in the film Samsaram because she became nervous on the set. She felt disappointed. Write a possible conversation between Savitri and her friend. So, here you can recall about Savitri, attribute, the lesson attribute, and here Savitri was removed from this main role and she was given a small role in the same film, and because she became nervous on the set, that was the reason that she was not given the main role, which made her feel utter disappointment. And what could be the conversation, what could be the ideas to make a conversation between Savitri and her friend. And here you can make the idea like you can frame them in an order. You can have formal greetings first, as usual. I told you about the indicators, and you have to maintain the cohesion between the dialogues, connectivity between the dialogues, and the dialogue should be in an order. And what was her ambition and what were her future plans. So, this can be discussed between Savitri and her friend. Okay. Next, there is another question for you. Sivasubramanya Iyer's wife observed Kalam while taking lunch in her kitchen. She also watched how Kalam ate and cleaned the floor. She was satisfied with his etiquette. Now here, if you recall this lesson, Abdul Kalam's My Childhood, when he was very young, he was invited to his science teacher Sivasubramanya Iyer's house, and his wife, who was an orthodox Brahmin, did not like Kalam to dine in her house, and at this context, she stood behind the door and she watched Kalam eating and cleaning the floor. In spite of her reluctance, Sivasubramanya Iyer brought Kalam to his house and he served with his own hands. And so, she was not liking, she didn't like it, but she observed Kalam, how he ate and how he cleaned the floor. And after observing Kalam doing all the things, then she was satisfied, and for the second time when he came to his house, she invited him and she served herself. She served the food herself. And here, imagine your Iyer's wife and write a diary entry on Kalam's behavior. So, here you should imagine yourself as Sivasubramanya Iyer's wife and write a diary entry. So, start a diary entry with the station, the day, date and also the time, and then you can say how the mood of Iyer's wife was, how she felt and how she observed Kalam and how she liked him very much, and also appreciation towards her husband and towards Kalam, and also feeling shameful for mistaking Kalam's behavior or Kalam, and then how she decides to invite him once again and serve him the food. Okay. So, here you can make a diary entry taking Kalam's behavior as well as the mood of Mrs. Iyer. Okay. Students, now when you make a diary entry or a conversation or a description, you should completely rely on these indicators and do the work carefully in order to keep up the complete paragraph or in a chronological order. So, even the script for speech also. So, all these things if you keep in mind, it is easy to answer the questions. For example, if you take any other lesson like A Tale of Three Villages, in Tale of Three Villages it was Thomas Ogonio who happened to see the chemicals in drums and he became anxious about it, and Sunday Nana, who observes the Thomas Ogonio's anxiety, he discusses, he talks to Thomas Ogonio about this, and Thomas Ogonio shares his views. There you can make an exchange. So, you can take any part of your lessons A, B or C readings and frame such, take such incidents and frame some conversations or diary entries in order to complete the given question. So, all these questions like 33 and 34, they deal with descriptive type of answers where you have to cover these 5 marks. So, for this you need a lot of practice also. Now, coming to question number 35, which we are going to discuss in the later sessions, it is completely a new question for you. The WH questions are new to you, and that will be discussed later. Now, coming to the this part like 33 and 34, all of you start your answer in page neatly and then divide into proper paragraphs when you are going to make your description a lengthier one. So, for that you should be careful while answering your question. You can take a diary entry or you can take a conversation or you can take a description. So, first of all you answer only the questions which are very easy or where you can frame a number of points. That is very important. You should make it lengthier. So, in order to make it lengthier, which question is easy for you and which question you can get more number of points has to be decided first, where you can frame more number of ideas in your mind and then answer that question. Prefer to take that question and answer it so that you can bag more points. Now, coming to script for speech, you should be able to use some emotive language also. So, while making framing this script for speech, you can pose some questions. You can make some thought provoking questions so that the speech will be effective. So, all these points if you keep in mind, it will be easy for you to answer all these questions. So, question number 33 and 34, they are in section C of your first paper. In section C of second paper, there are different questions, but section C of first paper has 33, 34 and 35 questions. So, students, I hope you all noted these 2 questions. You try to make an answer carefully, for these 2 questions and answer them and revise even the other things given by your teachers in the school. So, this revision class, this live session, I hope this will be useful for you and you can once again deal with some other questions given in your previous classes. Okay. Let us see how you can make it successful. To make it successful, the only thing is practice. You practice all the 4 questions. Take some incident and practice them so that you can put it in writing. If you put it in writing, then you will be able to get more marks. You will be able to present it well, and you will be able to use a good language, and read the textbook in order to grab some vocabulary from them and use them while writing these paragraphs or conversations. Okay, is it nice? Is it fruitful for you, students? I hope you all should have understood this these questions, and you will make an effort to practice them at home. Okay, wish you all the best, and let us meet in the next session.
मन की बात। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी भारत की जनता से साझा करेंगे अपने मन की बात रविवार 26 अप्रैल सुबह 11 बजे। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री के प्रसारण के तुरंत बाद मन की बात का प्रादेशिक भाषाओं में अनुवाद आकाशवाणी और दूरदर्शन के संबद्ध प्रादेशिक केंद्रों से किया जाएगा। मन की बात